Mr. Kwek Si Tiat, Board Chairman of BCA, Dr. John Keong, CEO of the BCA, Mr. Wong Hian Fine, Chairman CIJC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As Chairman Kwek mentioned to you just now, this is a record turnout, and I'm very happy to be able to join you this evening. Usually when there's a record turnout, there are several reasons for it. The first reason is that the food is very good. Second reason, the entertainment is very good. The third reason, that entrance is free. I just checked with John. The third reason is definitely not true, because I guess I'm told that you guys are paying for dinner. So, other reasons, maybe, possibly because entertainment is good, food is good. But I think probably the real reason for such a record turnout is that the industry is doing fine, or the industry is doing well. And usually, in my experience, the number of tables, it goes up and down, is a very good leading indicator of how the industry is doing. So 213 is a very good figure. Next year, maybe more, hopefully. But this year is a very special year also because we have a very record number of awards being given for building safety, for quality, for sustainability, and for universal design. 261 such awards are going to be given. And as Siti had mentioned, since we started the awards 12 years ago, this is the largest number. So, once again, congratulations to all the award recipients. Let me strike a more serious note and talk about some of the challenges that your industry is facing or will face in the months and years ahead. I think, first of all, you must know that the construction sector is and will remain a very key sector in our economy. But it faces several challenges, serious challenges, one of which is how you can grow, not by depending on foreign labor, but by increasing productivity. It's the first challenge. And your second challenge really is how you can grow while contributing to environmental sustainability. First, on productivity. I think you know by now how serious we all are and how serious we have to be about improving productivity in the construction sector. So we've launched very many initiatives like the Construction Industry Roadmap, and the response to from the industry has been very good. And in fact, to recognize the industry's efforts in this productivity drive, 31 of the 261 awards given out this evening are under a new category of construction productivity. But we have gone through this many times. I think productivity, construction productivity, we've tried many, many times. This time, I hope we really succeed. And our efforts have just started to roll out again. It's still early days yet, and there's a lot more work to be done if we are to achieve what we all hope will happen. Say by 2020, we have an industry that is highly integrated, an industry that is technologically advanced, with many, many progressive firms, and supported by a skilled and competent workforce. And all of us, the industry, people in the construction industry, developers, architects, engineers, main con, sub-con, all the people who work in the industry, and the government, each of us must play our part. For a start, the construction industry must reduce its reliance on foreign workers. I don't think I can emphasize this enough. One is simply because we cannot support an ever-increasing number of foreign workers. We have limited space, we have limited land, we have limited facilities and infrastructure. There is a limit to the number of foreign workers we take in. But I understand at the same time that we cannot replace our foreign workers overnight with locals. But what we can do is to gradually reduce these numbers by switching to technology, by building up skill levels of the workers who are currently in the industry. I think all of you in the industry know and support these measures and are doing your part to transform the construction industry. But I also realize that you do need time. But time is a luxury, and I think we need to redouble our efforts. So, to drive this widespread adoption of technology to save labor, we have tightened the demand for foreign workers through raising of foreign worker levies and by cutting the MYE quotas. I know these regulatory changes are not painless. They are going to result in a cost to the industry. The government will give as much help as possible to mitigate the impact of these measures. We've set up the $250 million Construction Productivity and Capability Fund, and you can tap on this $250 million to look at new technologies, look at new equipment, training schemes to upgrade your workforce, and so on. So this money is there. It's set aside for you, for your industry, to provide incentives for you to help yourself to upgrade. Since we started, and as at May this year, we have about 760 companies that have already applied for support in one form or another from this fund. And 65 of these 700 companies are SMEs, small and medium enterprises. So this is an encouraging sign. But what about the rest? What about those of you who have not yet come forward? There's room for more companies to step forward and to adopt new technologies and to upgrade your workforce. That's on the incentive side. Then on the regulation side, we will enhance regulatory standards on buildability and constructability. For example, you have the existing buildable design framework. We will enhance that framework to discourage designs that inadvertently result in labor-intensive processes, such as brick walls, for example. So BCA will be requiring builders to meet a minimum constructability score from July this year. And this should create greater impetus for the adoption of more labor-efficient construction methods and technologies. Of course, the industry also has fed back to us that with more buildable designs, the demand for precast and prefab components will increase. And so, to cater to this increase, BCA will be inviting proposals from the industry later this year to develop integrated construction and precast hubs. The first of these hubs, there will be land set aside in the Kaki Bukit industrial area. To further drive productivity, we can leverage on technology such as BIM or BIM, which many of you are familiar with. I've spoken about this at some other function. As usual, the government will have to walk the talk. So the public sector will take the lead by specifying BIM as a requirement next year. Although BIM is targeted for industry-wide adoption by 2015, I am happy to note that some private developers have already adopted BIM. They are early adopters of BIM. Gokoland has started to specify BIM as a requirement for its projects. City development will require all consultants and builders to use BIM from end of 2012 onwards. Wing Tai will be purchasing BIM software for its consultants and so on. So let's encourage more firms to step forward, make greater use of technology to transform the construction industry. The second challenge I talked about for the industry is to play a larger role in ensuring environmental sustainability. This has not gone away. This is a matter which was in the news last year when, after Kyoto, there was discussion on how we can have a global agreement. There was no global agreement to tackle global warming and climate change beyond the original Kyoto Agreement, which expires end of next year. But that doesn't mean that the problem has disappeared. In fact, against this global backdrop, Singapore's long-term growth has to be sustainable. Sustainable so that we can have a more longer-term, higher quality of life for our future generations. The building sector will be one of the key contributors to this sustainable, long-term sustainable growth. In fact, we are actively pursuing our target of 80% of the existing buildings, greening 80% of our existing buildings by 2030. Again, this year, the public sector will take the lead in greening its buildings. In fact, tonight's Green Mark winners include MOM Building, the Environment Building, and the URA Building. All have attained Gold Plus and above ratings, which is ahead of the target that we set ourselves of greening existing government buildings by 2020. So we need a collective effort, government providing the incentives, making the regulations, taking the lead, walking the talk, and the private sector responding to the incentives or to the new regulations, both working together to achieve this higher environmental sustainability in our buildings. Two of the developers who have responded to this call and have attained new standards in green building excellence are CDL. CDL has clinched the first Green Mark Platinum Champion Award. HDB is the first public sector agency to win the Green Mark Champion Award. And this evening we are also giving out special individual awards to the green building, to the new BCA SGBC, the Singapore Green Building Council Green Building Individual Awards, to honor 4 outstanding individuals who have played significant roles in championing environmental sustainability. It's this kind of individual passion that we want to instill in our younger generation to contribute meaningfully to sustainable growth in the future. The immediate task ahead of us is to improve the energy efficiency of existing buildings. And BCA has a Green Mark incentive scheme. $100 million has been set aside for existing buildings to meet higher Green Mark standards. We may also need to consider minimum efficiency standards, energy efficiency standards for existing buildings in the future. But we need to consult the industry and to study this regulatory option carefully before we make a decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, overall, your industry has done well. Some of you are moving faster, blazing the trail, setting good examples for the rest of the industry. But construction productivity and the green building movement are not achieved overnight. They are long, arduous journeys. We cannot afford to slow down. We cannot afford to change course. We must press on with a strong partnership amongst all industry players and the government. Finally, on a personal note, as you may know by now, this will be the last time that I will address you as the Minister for National Development. We have gone through many ups and downs together over the last 12 years since I took on this portfolio. I've seen many construction booms followed by construction bust and construction boom again. But through it all, I've always enjoyed the support and the cooperation of the members of the construction industry. So I would like to thank you all for your friendship all these years, and I wish you continued success in the years ahead. Thank you very much.